There are many stories circulating about the hauntings of Kirby Road. If you Google search the road, you'll find yourself down a rabbit hole of eyewitness accounts of hauntings, paranormal happenings, and sadly, real tragedy. One tragedy that I will focus on in today's episode is the one that took the life of a young girl named Selena. In the late hours of Halloween night and the early AM of November 1st, 1993, Selena, her sister, and her friend were involved in a single vehicle crash. The accident ejected Selena from the vehicle, and she met her untimely death in the middle of Kirby Road. A heart-shaped memorial headstone was placed at the side of the road at the crash site. The headstone simply read, "Selena, I'm a cute kid," with her birth date and death date. The headstone became a place of wonder for passing cars and thrill seekers. Some disrespectful individuals would even chip away chunks of the headstone to keep. The headstone has since been removed. One story that was circulating about the removal was that the landowner had it taken down in hopes of stopping all of the paranormal activity in the area. This story, as well as others that I have come across, are false. The true reason that the headstone was removed was due to construction in the area. The hydro poles along Kirby Road were being replaced, and by chance, one of the poles needed to be exactly where Selena's headstone was placed. Therefore, it was removed. While researching the strange occurrences on this road, I came across many reports of people hearing disembodied screams. A woman who walks into a farmer's field and disappears. A truck with one headlight out that chases people away from the area. An apparition that sits in a tree on a driveway near Selena's headstone. Knocking on cars if you pull over to the side of the road, and car radios that go haywire while in the area. At the end of the driveway, where the apparition in the tree was known to sit, there was an old abandoned farmhouse that was named the Hell House. Upon researching, I found many different stories about why it was called the Hell House, but with further investigation, I couldn't find any information that would substantiate any of the claims. I'm somewhat of a skeptic believer, and by that I mean I want to believe, but most ghost reports have logical explanations. I tend to seek out the allegedly haunted locations and try to experience the paranormal happenings for myself. I am more often than not left with disappointment. However, I myself have experienced things that are hard to explain. I decided to take a drive around Kirby Road and see if I could experience anything for myself. The first time I ventured out into the night, I couldn't find the headstone that I set out to locate. I went back the next morning and I was able to find the exact location. The headstone was placed approximately 10 feet back from the road, and the tall grass surrounding it was all matted down due to other thrill seekers visiting this eerie spot. That night, I went back to Kirby Road in hopes of experiencing something paranormal. I drove to the location alone at around 1 a.m. I pulled my car up next to Selena's headstone and waited, and nothing happened. I failed to experience any kind of knocking on my car. I decided to get out and walk around a little bit. I approached the headstone and paid my respects to the life that was tragically lost. After some time had passed, I decided to walk up the nearby driveway where the apparition in the tree had apparently been seen. I'm not one who gets spooked easily, but I must admit that at one point I felt very uneasy. It felt as if I was being watched. I continued to walk up the driveway and headed towards what was known as the Hell House. I realized when I got there that I was too late and the building had since been demolished. I walked back down the driveway towards the road, and once again, at one point on the driveway, I felt like I was being watched. I continued walking to my car, where I sat and waited a little longer. I didn't experience anything unusual, so I decided to drive to the end of Kirby Road and back again. I had finished driving the entire length of the road, and since I didn't experience anything paranormal, I proceeded to go home. Weeks had passed and I was out visiting a friend. It was late when I started making my journey home, and since Kirby was nearby, I decided to take that road on my way home. I was in my own little world and listening to music while driving when all of a sudden my car radio started acting up. The volume would go from full blast to off. It did this over and over again. There was nothing that I could do to stop it. No matter what I did to try to take control of the radio, it was being activated by something else. It was at that point that I realized that I was in the exact location of Selena's headstone. Oddly, when I finally drove past that area, I was able to regain control of the radio. I questioned the occurrence for the rest of the night. Was it just an electrical problem? I find it strange that after all of the reports that I read, I experienced the same thing at the exact location of the other reports. Was it just a very creepy coincidence? Or was it truly a ghostly encounter? Over the years, Kirby Road has certainly been faced with a lot of tragedy and eerie events. The road has taken many lives in different ways. Maybe you should take a drive and try to experience the ghosts of Kirby Road.